Ladies and gentlemen, first impression matters. This I am sure you are aware of, and more importantly you are convinced of. Quite a number of times we think first impression is all about how we look. It's about the element of dress. No, that's not true. When you go inside the interview room, you'll realize that's actually your second impression. First impression, ladies and gentlemen, is the resume you design. Why do I call resume as the first impression? What do you think happens in an interview? Ladies and gentlemen, before you have gone inside the interview room, your resume is held by the interviewer. He is going to read through it, and while he is reading through it, there's an image that he is going to create in his mind. You better see to it that the image that is created is a positive image, and that image is the first impression. Later when you walk in, he is going to look at you and he is going to compare his second image with the first image. So if the first image is positive, second image reinforces that positivity with the fantastic body language, with a great dress you are wearing, professional outlook you are coming out with, a great smile and probably a very firm handshake. Ladies and gentlemen, you have already won half the game. And after that, the real interview will start, which is the third impression. First impression has to be more powerful. That is where the concept of resume design comes into picture. What are the important elements of a resume design? What are the important elements you have to include in that? Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing that you need to understand is resume is not the same as curriculum vitae. CVs, I am sure you have heard of this. Curriculum vitae is a very exhaustive, detailed version of what you are. Resume is a shorter version. A person who is coming to your college for an interview does not have so much time. When he does not have so much time, he is not interested in so much detailed version of what you are. He needs a succinct version. He needs a version which is short to the point. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what resume is all about. So how long should your resume be? It should not be more than 2 pages long. When we talk about 2 pages, there are conditions which I am going to put in. 2 pages with an impressive font size. When we talk about 2 pages, we are also very careful about the font size that's to be used. You can't use small font size and try to fill more information, or huge font size and try to make as if the whole page is full. Ladies and gentlemen, you are a professional. That's the image you are going to give. So use professional font, use professional font size. We at Condura recommend you to use Times New Roman 12 or Arial 11. We use Arial smaller size because Arial is a bigger font as such. So when I say that the resume should not be more than 2 pages, one of the things that you should be sensitive with. Of the 2 page, first page is more important than the second page. Why is first page more important than the second page? I ask you another question. If Condura wishes to put an advertisement in a Hindu newspaper, ladies and gentlemen, which one will be more expensive? First page or the second page? Obviously the first page. Why? Because most of the people are going to read through it. The same thing is true for a resume. In the resume, the first page is more important because the interviewer is surely going to read through it. Second page, he probably might skip. Therefore, be very careful what you put in the first page. The rule is very simple. All that is important, push it to the first page. Things which are not important but to be included in the resume, push it to the second page. I ask you a question, for example, should a person's name be in the first page or second page? Now that's a comic question, obviously it has to be in the first page. But what about father's name? Should father's name be there in the first place? Probably you may like to include your father's name, but if you are, for God's sake, don't do that in the first page. It does not matter. What matters is whether it is there or not. So push it to the second page. Between email address and home address, include the email address in the first page, home address can go to the second page. 2 questions that are often asked, and I therefore repeat it here. Number 1, is it required for me to include objective? Now you need to understand you have a choice. You can include objective, you need not include objective. There's nothing like a rule in that. But we at Condura generally ask our students to refrain from that. Why do we say objective is not required? For 2 reasons. Number 1, if you were to include objective, ladies and gentlemen, you will be forced to include that in the first page. But remember what I said, first page is more important. Then why are you wasting that space? Number 2, quite a number of times we have seen students just pick it up from somewhere and paste it here. They don't even understand the story behind it. Now it's quite dangerous because in the interview they may ask you to elaborate. Maybe you have written objective as to work in a leading company, and the company may ask what is the definition of leading company. So ladies and gentlemen, you can avoid that, but it's a personal choice. You can include that if you wish to. The second question people ask is declaration required? Now I am sure you are aware what declaration is. Declaration includes statements like, I promise that all the information that is given is true to the best of my knowledge. Now you have a choice, but it's really not required if a company is coming to your campus. Why is it not required? Commonsensical. Who is responsible for checking your information? Obviously the campus. The company relies on the college to do so. So declaration is simply not required. But having said that, If you are trying to go for a off campus, we would surely recommend you to include the declaration, and declaration has to obviously come after the data point, which means page number 2. And remember, page number 2 is not as important. So if you wish to include it, go ahead, include it. But having included all this, now let's look at the structure. What I'm going to do now is give you a sample, have a look at it. You like it, use it. You don't like it, change it. But whatever you do, be a professional. What are the elements that you surely should observe in the sample? The first thing that you need to observe, ladies and gentlemen, see to it the margin is clear. Be a professional, give a professional document. If you look at the margin has to be clear on all the 4 sides. It should not so happen that the margin is less on one, more on other. It does not look good. You need to see to it that you are giving left margin a little bit, because believe me, companies might like to punch it, file it, and if they are doing so, all this information is going to hide inside. So you need to be careful about the margin. See to it that it's professionally presented. For example, bullets have to be professional. A person who knows MS Word is, I'm sure you're aware of the fact that I can have anything as a bullet, including my beautiful handsome face. But should I do it? Obviously not. Use professional bullet points. Dash and dots are what we recommend. The heading has to be yours. In case I am academically great, in case I am a topper, in case I have consistently topped, then probably I should use the heading as academic achievement. But in case I am not very good, then how can I use the heading as academic achievements and leave it as empty? Because the moment I leave it as empty, ladies and gentlemen, I am telling the company I am not excellent. Not a done. Change the heading. Instead of academic achievement, probably you can just write academic activity. Now, the same thing is true for extracurricular. If you have not done anything, then do not have an extracurricular achievement, talk about extracurricular activity. You may ask, sir, I have not done anything great in academics, I have not done anything in extracurricular activity either. What should I do? Simple, change the heading, make the heading as academic and extracurricular activities. Ladies and gentlemen, be innovative. The beauty in a resume is you have a choice. You cannot change your past, but you can always change how you're going to present that past. When big companies come, you are going to compete with people who are better than you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are in a good college, it's but natural that students around you are also very good. But can I simply give up just because others are better than me? Or should I try to fight? I'm sure you would agree with me when I say we need to fight. So how do we fight? We first draw a document which talks about my strength. Resume has 2 things. It talks about the strength, it hides one's weakness. So if you do not have great achievements, don't even have a heading and leave it empty. Change the heading, but see to it that you have enough bullet points. Please see to it that you are professionally presenting it, which means there should be no typo error. I can give you so many examples of interviews which went wrong just because one word was wrongly typed. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to be careful. The moment there's a typo error, it means that you are not careful. One of the important traits that companies are looking for is eye for detail. More importantly, I ask you one question. If there is a typo error, what does it tell me about you? Maybe you're not very serious on my company. Ladies and gentlemen, not a single typo error. When you are presenting the resume to the company, it has to be perfect. Because you know what? You're telling the company you care about the company. You're telling the company you want the company. And more importantly, you're telling the company that you deserve the company. So resume better be perfect. Take some time, plan it out. It should not have too many bullet points. Because if you crowd it too much, people will not be able to read it. You should know what to include, what to dump. But surely, resume should not seem empty. Because if it is empty, then who are you? At the end of the day, resume is your first impression. Ladies and gentlemen, all the very best. Design a great resume and see to it that when you walk inside, the first impression has already been created, a very positive impression. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.